Finally, before I invite the guests, you set up a foundation ultimately,
Yes.
which is the Sickle Cell. What's the foundation called?
Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative.
Okay,
yeah,
and this was later.
Yes,
and you're
after the
still
book.
standing at 52. You've authored another book too.
Yes,
which
Misadventures of Oga Madam A.S.
And that was simply because you wanted to draw attention
to the plight of people with sickle cell and then parental attitudes to having a child with
So at the
sickle
end of the
cell.
day, if your parents were not what they were, if you didn't have that support,
Yes,
you probably still won't be here.
Oh, I definitely assure you I would not be here.
So I'll take a break, because when we return with my experts, we're going to be talking about the issue of support systems and also, more importantly, identifying the point at which you begin to feel suicidal. I'll be right back. Yes, welcome back to the edition of the Seriously Speaking that is looking at depression and relating it to suicides and hoping that you're not like me, who's functionally depressed. Let them explain to me. I have two medics, so to speak. I have a medical doctor in the house, Dr. Akin Odubiton.
Yes, please.
I got it right.
You got it right.
Yes, it's nice to have you on the set. And then
Absolute
Tolushe. Tolushe. I've never heard that. But you learn every day. Tolushe Francis. So Tolushe is I call you a psychoanalyst.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Okay, so, like that.
Something like that. Okay, but Dr. Akin tells me that some of the terms that we use to describe people puts people away from them.
Yes, so I'm a medical literacy expert. So.
But you're a medical doctor.
Yes. But I found out that a lot of the things we say seem to be like we're talking above people's heads.
Yeah.
So when you say he's our in-house psychoanalyst, everybody's wondering, who's that? What is that? But what that means, in summary, is that he's a mental health expert. And it can be useful to you, particularly the areas of psychotherapy.
Okay, so what is psychoanalyst? Are you, when we see movies, see the people that take this thing? Sleep.
Yes.
Sleep. Is that what you are?
No, that's not who I am.
But you can do that.
Yes, I can, but that's not who I am.
Okay, let's talk seriously here now. Why did you choose to go the field of mental health? Biochemistry was your original course.
Okay, so I got to a point in my life where I realized that everything that we do comes from the mind. I got very interested in the mind. I got very interested in how people think. And I got to a point in my life, I think I had issues with admission, and I realized it was affecting me,
Admission to do what again?
Into school. Before I got into school, I actually wanted medicine in the first place. I wanted medicine in the first place, so I didn't get that. And then I thought to myself, let me go study why people think the way they think and why they behave the way they behave. So that got me to the field of mental health. And then I took special interest in emotions. Why do people cry? How people handle grief and loss. In fact, that's my new area of research now, grief and loss. And then why people get depressed.
So now, when you saw those reports about people jumping off the cliff, the statistics I quoted, for example, 800,000 deaths in Nigeria, and we've only had about 3 or 6 in recent times. Can we be that many who are actually taking their lives via suicide?
It is possible. We can't be. We only know what we know, or we only know what we hear rough. So when people say, no, he didn't do it, or nobody hated him, I tell them, what do you know about the person? The person wakes up in the morning, goes out. You assume the person is going to work. The person never gets to work. You don't know. You just realize he didn't come back. Nobody calls you to inform you. You didn't see this person at work. This person didn't come to school. So you only know what you know. You don't assume. But like I said, we can't have that. Our statistics, the way our analysis in Nigeria, we don't have precise statistical data, as it were in Nigeria.
Well, this is the World Health Organization statistics, though, as quoted. But I just wonder, though, as a medical doctor who's also about medical literacy, is it a fact that it was a medical doctor that jumped off the cliff? I keep calling it cliff, off the 3rd Mainland Bridge.
Yes, he was.
He was your classmate?
Yes, he was.
And, is this a function of... And you tell me that to commit suicide doesn't happen the first time.
Okay, let me start from the statistics, the WHO statistics. Now, while what is reported might seem small, you say, oh,
small?
Yeah, you say, WHO says 800,000. But what we hear on news and social media is 3, 4, 5, 10. If you count everything, you're talking about maybe, 100, thereabout. But if you consider the sheer volume of missing persons.
Oh.
Yes.
Completely undocumented, unaccounted for, And I mean, yes, we know our environment, we have all the kidnappings and accidents and ritual killings and what have you. But certainly, suicides have their chunk of that piece of missing persons. And that's very important because it then instructs us. Like you said, he was a medical doctor.
That's Dr. Oji.
Yes, he was a medical doctor. Absolutely brilliant chap. But like I talk to people when I say talk about depression, you know, rose-tinted glasses make the world look pink. When you wear shades, everywhere looks dark. It is not as much about the experience people have. It's about what's happening inside them. It's about the support structures they have internally and externally, and how much they've invested, and how much we have invested in those support
people.
structures.
Okay, that's even to Tony now. Tony, when you heard about that doctor, because when I heard about him, and I read the story about him being a sickler, you came to my mind immediately. I mean, I look at you, I look at how you could have been different, but this is what you are.
Yeah.
And you're still standing. You know, I say, I'm going to change the title of your book to Standing Tall. We got to do that. Standing tall. And you, I mean, how come you have, I said, well, I really didn't feel pity for the young man, sadly. Knowing someone like you, what did you feel like?
I felt pity because I know where he was coming from. I know the experience I faced early on in my struggle to find myself.
Do you still face that?
Oh, yes, but because I have a higher... Let me... There are three things I say that helps you keep your sanity. Purpose, support, and knowledge. Purpose, as in you know your purpose here. Okay, this thing is happening to you, but there's a reason for it. Find that reason and how you can activate that reason. 2, your support system. And not people that would do the self-pity statements. And you don't need that. You need people who would encourage you and show you the brighter side of life. And then 2, knowledge. Knowledge in yourself, your disorder, your triggers and all that. So if you don't have that, and faith in God, of course, ultimately, which really boils down to your purpose anyway. If you don't have all that, there's a likelihood that your sanity can get warped.
Okay, Tolushe said something about even you, when you were trying to get into school, right? You know, that statistics also said something about it was more among students young people between the age of 16 and 29. I just can't understand it. Would that still be the same case here? Do you have people who has not jammed 7 times and probably, you know, how did you survive your own case?
Okay, it was tough for me because at that point I became a church boy.
So that's the support. You had
That's it.
emotional...
Yes,
I became a church boy. If anything is happening, I was in the choir. So if there's a midweek service, Tolushe is there. Tolushe is there. And one day I got, I'm not even going to church again. I mean, my mates are in school and, you know. But it was that same church that finally got me into school. The woman got up one day and said, what are you still doing at home? I told her I've written JAMB, and I was like, come on, go to school. So I found myself in Bowen University because that was the only school who had not written their entrance exams at that time. It wasn't the school I wanted to attend, and they were to start medicine then. So I got in. Now, at the end of the day, I didn't get the medicine, and I felt bad. So I continued. But the thing is, the church was there as a support structure. My family were also supportive. So like she said in her statement, if you have the right support. Now, a lot of times when we look for support, may not be where the support is.
Okay, that's interesting because before I come back to Akin, you said something about you didn't do what you wanted to do. You didn't study medicine, but today you are a mental health expert. So that journey has taken you to purpose.
Exactly.
Yes.
And, you know, so if that's the case, you knew this fellow, we're using this as an example now, there are several others. I mean, I heard about a naval officer who shot himself and things like that. Now, because you had this personal experience with this fellow, would you say, for example, somebody like that didn't have purpose, he's a smart boy, he's gotten this far, what was wrong?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't even deign to be an expert on what was wrong with him because we weren't that close.
What do we suspect?
And eventually, really, why do people do what they do? They do it either because they're expecting to be relieved of pain or they're expecting to get pleasure.
Really?
Yes. No, anything. I'm not talking now in the context of suicide. I'm saying anything.
Okay, I was worried. Would anybody want to kill himself for pleasure, though?
So I'm overweight. I know I shouldn't be having ice creams with every meal, but I go and have ice creams with every meal. I know, but that knowledge is not enough. to help me because the pleasure I anticipate from ice cream is bigger than the pain I feel when I'm overweight. Until after I finish the ice cream. And I'm like, oh my God, I've eaten it again. And then you feel bad. And so when you know, people put up posts, you know, that, suicide, Nigeria is not a suicide country. The guy, he even has car, he has house. And I'm like, dude, you don't even understand what's going on.